Bienvenue sur Alafia Média, bienvenue à toi Alafianote. Ici, je t'invite à apprendre, comprendre et entreprendre dans l'agrobusiness pour industrialiser l'Afrique. Bien. Aliko Dangote. Qui ne connaît pas Aliko Dangote? Bref, si vous êtes en Afrique, vous avez certainement entendu parler d'Aliko Dangote au moins une fois, je dirais, dans une année. Aliko Dangote, c'est l'homme qui a décidé de ne plus seulement importer le futur, mais de le fabriquer. Né le 10 avril 1957 à Kano, au Nigeria, Dangote n'est pas un self-made man. Au sens classique, je veux dire, mais c'est un self-made giant, issu en réalité d'une lignée de riches commerçants. Eh oui, il faut bien quitter quelque part, ça commence toujours quelque part. En réalité, son grand-père, son arrière-grand-père, je dirais même, Alhassan Dantata, était l'homme le plus riche de l'Afrique de l'Ouest à son époque. Il refuse de se concentrer évidemment sur l'héritage. Et en 1977, avec un prêt de son oncle, il lance sa propre affaire de négoce. Son génie, comprendre avant tout le monde que le commerce n'est qu'une étape et que la véritable puissance réside dans la production. Il le dit d'ailleurs lui-même. Aliko Dangote, je n'ai pas de luxe, je n'ai pas de temps pour les vacances, je travaille 18 heures par jour. Et oui, les résultats, la réussite, ça a une histoire. Toujours. Le tournant en 1999, la naissance de l'industriel. Inspiré par le modèle des conglomérats brésiliens, il opère en réalité une mutation radicale. Comme quoi, la radicalité n'est pas toujours source de rébellion. La radicalité est source de conscientisation, de prise de conscience par rapport à quelque chose et on prend une direction. Alors lui, il cesse d'importer du ciment, du sucre et du sel pour les produits sur place au Nigeria. Il transforme donc le Nigeria alors, qui était dépendant de tout ça, en un pays exportateur. Waouh! Sa fortune grimpe, sa vision s'élargit, il devient l'homme le plus riche d'Afrique. Une position qu'il occupe sans discontinuer depuis plus d'une décennie. Et ça ne va pas s'arrêter là. Pourquoi? Parce que Dangote, il a lancé la vision Renaissance africaine. C'est le grand œuvre de 2024-2030. Alors, le programme Renaissance n'est pas qu'un simple plan de stratégie, ce n'est pas un business plan. Il n'en est plus là maintenant Dangote. C'est une doctrine de souveraineté. Il marque le passage du groupe de l'industrie lourde de base à la haute technologie pétrochimique, énergétique et bientôt l'aviation. Bref, je ne dirai pas plus. Je vous laisse regarder lui-même vous expliquer sa vision Renaissance dans cette vidéo. Écoute ça.
Aliko, this is a huge pleasure to have you here at IFC. I don't need to introduce Aliko Dangote, who is the largest investor in the continent, but not only in the continent, but one of the largest investors in the world, and has been a transformative industrialist in the continent. We have been working with Aliko Dangote Group, but I want just today to have a conversation about your vision of Africa. Last year, you set up a group called African Renaissance. Tell us, why did you put this group together?
Thank you very much, Maxar. I must really thank you for doing a great job. My own vision of Africa, because I sat down one day and I said, okay, fine, everything is about potential, potential, potential. How do we get this potential into reality? How do we really, make sure we transit for potential to real economic growth? And I said that no, maybe it's better. Let me get all the big guys in Africa who really care much about Africa, like minds, and see how do we really sit down together and craft a vision for Africa. Because when you look at it, every single thing, is like people are just putting roadblock for Africa not escape our own cage where we are. So we set up this group which I'm very happy that you accepted to be a member, to see, okay, fine. You look at Africa today, if somebody like myself, I need 38 visas to move around. How do I now invest if I'm not able to move around? 38 visas doesn't make sense. Nobody has time to go and apply for a visa, take your passport, and whatever. And most of them, they don't do visa on arrival. So we look at that one, free movement of people, free movement of goods and services. These are critical areas. Without this, there's no way we are going to have a very prosperous Africa. Because with this, I cannot move my goods from Nigeria, from Lagos, to Republic of Benin. And when you try to cross the border, you can be there for a week if you are lucky. If you are not lucky, you don't know anybody, you're going to be there for 2 weeks. There's no way you can do a trade with your neighbors like this. Then we look at the sector of transportation. When you look at it, most of the people who own ships that move goods around, they are owned by other nationalities, not Africans. And it costs us, for example, to go from Lagos, port, to Accra, more than coming from Spain to Lagos. Then you talk about aviation. When you talk about aviation, from Lome to Accra, somebody will charge you $600. How do you move around? People cannot afford this kind of, $600 is a lot of money.
Yeah, but Aliko, you are, as usual, you are not taking a lot of credit for what thing you did. Let me push you a little bit on something.
Okay.
Yes, a lot of people have been talking about these ideas and making the diagnostic. But the difference that you're making is that you're making it happen. Okay?
That's true, yes.
It's a different story.
Yes.
We all, in our professional careers, saw that a lot of discussion, diagnostics about the problems.
Yeah.
But when we come to crossing the line and making it a reality, it's becoming more greater. You go and did something which is quite amazing. Say Nigeria now needs to use more value addition on something that he has in abundance, which is oil.
That's right.
And you built a refinery, I understand, more than $20 billion.
Yes.
So how did this big idea came to you? And what were the steps? Because it's the first time you say that people say, Aliko is just dreaming. It's not possible to do that.
You're right.
But
right.
You were persistent and did it. Why did you do it?
Okay, you see, first of all, when you look at it, Nigeria, you're right. We have a lot of oil. At one point, we're exporting 2.4 million barrels per day and not processing 1 barrel. Every single, product that we use, whether it's gas, oil, gasoline, jet fuel, everything is imported. Mark, to tell you the truth, Dangote refinery was always on the agenda of discussion. Always. And when you hear 650,000 barrels, all the trading companies, all the big corporations, they always tell people openly, this refinery will never happen. At the end of the day, fast forward, Mark, we as an African company will be able to deliver. But let me tell you what will surprise you more. Because, I must thank you for IFC taking also a risk on us, because you are part of our pool of funding. And to tell you the truth, at the time when I started this refinery, Mark, I have never ever seen crude oil in my life. Never. Yes, never. I always avoid crude oil because for us in Nigeria, once you say that you are in oil, it's a dirty business. And I wanted to do a clean business, so I left the oil. It is just because I've seen my country suffering. I've seen that when I look at it, all African countries, apart from Algeria and Libya at that time when we started, everybody was importing. Nobody had sufficiency in petroleum products. And I said, no, this cannot continue. We had to establish a company where we did the EPC, which is engineering, procurement, and construction. Every single nut and bolts we bought, we shipped. Ordering of the equipment we did. We put every single thing together to now achieve that. And people have seen the benefit of it. Today, the refinery, we have tested the refinery up to 661 1,000 barrels per day. But we have been now stable for the last 2 months at 650,000 barrels per day. And every single department is working. So you can see that's what we have actually done. And when we look at it, Mark will say that, okay, fine, you know, this thing now has removed fears in us. And we're saying that, you know, for Africa to develop, some of us we must take that risk in terms of opening up Africa. How do we open up Africa? We will open Africa by demonstrating that we believe in Africa, by investing our money in Africa. Because if I don't invest my own money, I can never go to any conference and convince people that Africa is a good place to come and invest. But right now, I have a voice. Right now, I have a mouth to say, hey, come and invest in Africa, because I have demonstrated that, look, these things, they are possible.
I see that you have been very deliberately supporting African countries. You told me, for me, this is very important in what I'm doing.
You know, I feel much more satisfied as a human being to now take my continent out of trouble. How do I take my continent out of trouble? Because we cannot continue every day. We import food, we import whatever that we consume. Okay, so we decided that, look, the best thing that for us to do is to look at what are the needs of Africa. And the needs of Africa is petroleum products, fertilizers. You know, today, Makcha, we are going to be, about 2.5 years, will be the largest fertilizer company in the world. We are putting up 12 million tons of urea. We are opening up a mines of potash and phosphate in Congo, Brazil. We are now going into power, 20,000 megawatts. We are building the biggest deep sea port of 18 meters draft. We are doing LNG. So why? Because we have now actually free up our assets and we can actually raise more money. Our cash flow now is very, very strong. But what do we want to do with all this money? What we are trying to do is to now say, okay, fine, how can African countries and Africans most especially benefit from this? Our own mission in Dangote is to look at critical needs of Africa and make sure that, yes, we make those critical areas a reality. Because if you don't do that, it's just like now, you look at it, how can we in Africa be exporting 80% of the cocoa of the world? Every single cocoa is being shipped in beans. Simple, you process it. How much would it cost? And if you keep waiting for foreign investors are very smart. They are not going to come. They will only come when they see our own commitment. So that's why for us now, we have also changed. Because if you look at it, most of our companies, we own super majority. 89%, 90%, 92%, some 100%. And we're saying that no, for us to grow up at scale, we need to make sure that we have partnership. We should also collectively get Africans to buy shares. Like now, the refinery we are going to list. When we list, we are going to ask Africans to do, and we want to de-risk also their own capital. So when we are paying dividend, all our dividends will be in dollars. And you can choose either you want Naira, or you want dollars, or you want South African rand. Whatever that you need, we'll pay. But it is going to be calculated and paid for in dollars.
This point is very important for me, Aliko, because there is often, some saying that all the private savings of a middle class is taken out of the continent and put in apartment in Europe or the United States. That is part of the story, which is you cannot deny it. That's the truth. But there is the part of the story that people don't talk about a lot. Is that when they have assets which are interesting and good quality assets in the continent, people are investing in. If you take the West African stock exchange, a company like Sonatel and so forth, whenever they're issuing on the stock exchange, people are oversubscribing. So, like you, I strongly believe that if you have quality assets on the continent where people can guarantee a return with a lot of stability, they will be investing in our assets.
Okay.
What is your view about it?
It is a great idea, Motra. Let me give you an idea. let's say now today, we have a projection that our company, based on the investments that we're going to make, will end up having $100 billion of revenue, and a bidder will be minimum 30 to 35 billion dollars. Let's say that the way that we always give dividend, at the company operational level, we have been given very, very high dividends. Sometimes we even give 90%. Yes, but the parent company, which is Dangote Industries, we have never ever given dividend. I've never taken dividend one dime out of the company since when we started. Everything has been reinvested back into the business. That's why we're able to grow. So when you look at it, Mokhtar, if we are now saying that at the end of the day, worst case scenario, we are going to give dividend of $20 billion. Can you imagine if we have, let's say we will sell 25%. If you sell that 25% of this 25 billion, you are actually going to inject billions of dollars into the hands of all these Africans. Do you know what that can do? It's a life-changing event. And that is why really we are now working with the Central Bank of Nigeria, we are working with the Stock Exchange of Nigeria, we are working with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we are now trying to now make all these things happen. While we, Kenya, we put up like a vehicle, and all investment will be done there, and now they will take the money into our company. When they want to sell down, you can always sell down because there's a certificate that you have. You can take your capital out at any time that you want. And majority of them too will help them.
This is something that we will really love to work with you.
I mean, you have more experience than us, so I'm sure this one IFC will definitely help to lead in this. You see, because Mokhtar, if we open up something like this, I am telling you, we'll end up paying maybe 20, 25 billion of dividend to Africans. That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So that is what we, so what, even for my own legacy, really, honestly, this one is a self-satisfying event for me.
Another thing that you have been doing, and you came here and gives a keynote address on the water.
Water, yes. Our project in water now, what we are doing is actually like in agriculture. I keep saying that, agriculture is not a poor man's business anymore. That is what can actually take our people out of poverty. So we became very, very interested in this, and one time when you set up that financing for us, IFC led, put up, in 2005, a finance, our first outing, 478 million.
I'm impressed with your memory.
Yes, yes, that's right.
It was a while ago.
Yes, it was a while ago. And you took also risk on us. So it was a 7-year loan, and we're able to pay it in 18 months. Okay, so when you look at that, when we finish, to keep telling you how important water, is, even to our own operation. Normally in northern Nigeria, wherever you actually drill, you get water. But that area where we have the cement plant, there was no water at all. We're all hitting dry boreholes. Yes, dry all over. And you cannot produce cement without water. I never knew. Because the cooling of the equipment, all this one, it has to use water. So we had to go now and create earthen dam, where luckily we're nearby one river. We make it as a reservoir to reserve what we can have for 2 years, just in case that there is a drought. So with that, we're able to, secure. Today, my refinery cannot operate and produce good quality petroleum products without good treated water. In the refinery alone, we have 440 million liters of treated water storage. We use a lot of water, even though we recycle it. So in the same vein, when you look at all the other businesses that are doing rice processing, rice mills, there must be water. If the quality of that water is not there, no production. The same thing with fertilizer.
You said that there are 400 mini dams in Nigeria. Roughly, you told us. What will your plan for IFC and you and the World Bank Group as a whole to work with you on these 400 dams? What do you envisage as big investment?
What we need to do is actually, because some of them, they just need a bit of desilting, some of them, they need some repairs of the equipment because they have not been put to use, all of them, majority of them. So when we do this, what we are doing, all these people that are around the dams will actually totally transform their lives. Once the dams are working, people will go now, they will farm, there is water, they can do irrigation. Once the irrigation is there, people can actually have a livelihood throughout the year. So this one will empower people. It will take out poverty. It will create prosperity. And most of all these conflicts we are having, especially in the Sahel, they will go away. Because why do you think that people want to go now and risk their lives and be notorious in killing people? It's because they have no jobs. So these are one area which I believe ourselves as a private sector, IFC and the World Bank Group, we should get together to find a solution.
It's quite interesting because, you are working in various sectors, from cement to oil and
Yes.
Refinery.
Yes.
How many people are in the group?
Total, direct, and also through contractors. Total, we have about 51,800. But the number is going to grow massively by the time that we open up the agricultural side. So to create more jobs and prosperity is to do agriculture. With agriculture, we'll get to maybe 200,000 jobs. And that's what will really give me self-satisfaction.
Aliko, something that I'm passionate about, and I think that there is opportunity to work with your foundation and so forth, is to help at a much lower level the family businesses. So a typical journey where someone was a trader, he created his company, become wealthier, become a manufacturer, and now they go to the transmission of wealth to the children, who should be able to carry it to the next generation. Yes. That journey for me would be essential in Africa. And what we start doing, that's why we created this local champion initiative, right, which includes supporting you, which is the top of the pyramid, right, but also thinking about the local. And what we learn is that they value the money that you are giving them. They value even more the advice and experience that you bring in them.
To share your own.
To share. So.
Yes. This thing you have described, you describe exactly Aliko Dangote. Because when I finished school, I started with trading, selling 4 trucks of cement every day. My uncle was giving me allocation of cement. I was taking the cement to, sell. There was difficulty in getting cement that time in Nigeria. So, and the 500,000 naira, which was then $500,000, I didn't use the money. 3 months later, I returned the money to my grandfather, who actually gave me this. But my uncle was in cement business. He was importing under the government license, and I was getting 4 trucks every day, automatic, from him. People will come and pay me money and say, okay, I'm going to come back in 6 months to collect my cement. So I had too much cash. I returned his cash. But that time, I was a bit risk averse. So I wanted to stick to my cement. It was only in 1981 that I started importation of, sugar. 5,000 tons was the first license that I got to go and import sugar. So when you look at this one, you look back and say, okay, fine. That's where I came from, selling of 4 trucks a day. And these are the kind of people now that you are talking about, because I was there.
But I wanted people to hear these stories. I know they hear part of these stories, but I think that the vision that you have for the continent, I want you to reiterate to everybody and clearly and unequivocally that we are fully supporting what you are doing.
No, thank you.
And for us, industrialization of Africa will require people to take risks.
Risk, definitely, yes.
Invest in it. And if institutions like ours are not here to support that, it will not happen.
It will happen.
It will not happen. We need to take risks. We need to believe in the industrialization of the continent. And we need also to bring everybody around the table, policymakers, industrialists and private sector like us, institutions like ours, to try to do together. you have the full commitment of the World Bank Group in that.
We really appreciate that and we recognize that. And honestly, what you said, Maktar, you are really very right. We also realize that, one thing that you did, which I didn't even mention to you, that really touched not only me, the entire Dangote group, is that when we now call all our lenders and we say we are paying everybody off, IFC insists that no, they are not going to take their money. That money must be put into Dangote fertilizer, which is, for us, we say yes. The interest that you have shown that you want us to work together to transform Africa is not only also about money. What you get from IFC is also the advice, because the pool of experience that you have, pool of people that you've been dealing donkey years, that you have all this experience, you give us advice, areas where we are not doing well in social and environmental issues. You make sure that yes, we behave very well. So we are really very, very appreciative. We couldn't have asked for a better time with World Bank. You are my brother, you are my personal friend. Jay Banga, we've been friends for a very long time. And when he became president of the World Bank, we're actually even closer now. So our work with World Bank and IFC will continue to grow. We need your support, and we'll make lives of Africans better.
Aliko, it's a huge pleasure.
Thank you.
And honor to receive you here in IFC. And we will continue working within the Renaissance, African Renaissance group, with your personal business. And we keep the eye on the prize, which means to make Africa really grow and people getting jobs, being proud of being who they are, and being, moving in the right direction. So thank you once again very much for your great contribution.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and I promise you the relationship will now go into a new, phase.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.